This is the ultimate Gloom Stalker build. Now, we are going to just, as always, level by level and a item guide. Maybe a little combat tutorial. There's not really much to talk about. You just hit multiple times and you do it really well. So, to begin, we're going to stick with the Ranger now. For your favourite enemy, I would personally take the Bounty Hunter. I think having Ensnaring Strike and being able to give disadvantage on saving throws is amazing. For your Natural Explorer, I personally really like the Wasteland Wanderers, because it just gives you resistance to these damages. I personally pick Poison to start with, because I think this is more helpful in the long run. A lot of people will say Fire. I personally think it's Poison though. For your stats, I would keep it easy and keep it like this. 10 in Strength, 16 in your Dex and your Constitution, an 8 in Intelligence, 14 in Wisdom, and a 10 in Charisma. For your proficiencies, I would keep it how it is, so I would take Stealth, Nature, and I would take Perception. We are going to be multi-classing into Rogue as well in this build, so that is something to remember. Okay, at level 2 we are sticking with Ranger for level 2. This boosts our health as well as gives us some extra spells, and I personally really like Long Strider, and I like Hunter's Mark. Hunter's Mark is a bonus action, it is also concentration, but essentially it's an extra 1 to 6 damage whenever you hit a target. Really, really powerful. For your fighting style, again, you can really take whatever you like, if it's going to be bow or melee. I personally would do melee, so when you make an attack with your offhand weapon, you can add your ability modifier to the damage of the attack. I think this is more helpful. With the archery, you only get a +2 bonus to ranged weapon attacks, which is good, but I think being able to add your modifier, which is a +3 for us, to our offhand attack if we were to dual wield, is amazing. Okay, and this is where the Gloom Stalker comes into play. Ranger level 3, and we get one more spell. And for this, I would take either Hail of Thorns, or I would take Ensnaring Strike, which ties into our favoured enemy. And for a subclass, of course, we're taking Gloom Stalker. This gives us Dread Ambusher, so we get a +3 to initiative, and on the first turn of combat, not only do we get an extra 3 meters of movement, we can make an extra attack, and it deals an additional 1 to 8 damage. Very, very powerful. Okay, Ranger level 4. Now, the main point of this is to get an ASI. Now, there's a few things you can do here. You could boost your ability improvement. I personally love Mobile. This is one of my favourite feats in D&D and in Baldur's Gate 3. So your movement speed increases, difficult terrain doesn't slow you down when you dash, and if you move after making a melee attack, you don't provoke opportunity attacks from your target. I would personally take Mobile. You could boost your Dex, that is also a very solid choice to go for. Your other option is Alert. Again, a +5 bonus to initiative, and you can't be surprised. But I really suggest testing out Mobile. It really helps you move around the battlefield, it really helps you just hit one enemy, move on to another, and so forth. Okay, and here we are Ranger level 5. This gives us an extra attack, which is what this build is built for, and we get Misty Step, which is a phenomenal spell. I love Misty Step. We get one more spell because we are now at that level 2 spell slot appointment, and I would personally take the Hail of Thorns. So this deals weapon damage to the target and then explodes, and will do 1 to 10 piercing damage to the target and surrounding creatures. Very, very good. Okay, it is at level 6 we actually dip over to Fighter, which might seem a little weird, but Fighter's where we want to be, and we're going to take the archery fighting style, which means we are now melee and a ranged combatant, which is perfect. I love having the adaptability to be able to do both. And we're going to take Fighter to level 2 to get the Action Surge, which is honestly sometimes worth dipping into Fighter for any class, because Action Surge is just so powerful. You basically just get an extra action on this turn. So for example, with our attacks where we do 2, we can now do 4. Couple this with Dread Ambusher. You could do your Dread Ambusher turn, do your 2 attacks, Action Surge, and do 2 more attacks. That could be 5 attacks on your first turn. Okay, it's at level 8 that we go over to my favourite class, the Rogue. This will give us access to a bunch of proficiencies, and it will give us access to Sneak Attack. Now, for your proficiencies, I would take Sleight of Hand, especially if this is going to be your main character, because if you're going to be a Dex-based character anyway, you might as well be able to steal things. And again, for your expertise, I would stick with Sleight of Hand and Stealth. Investigation's a great shout as well. Okay, Rogue level 2, and the whole point of this is to get to Cunning Actions, which now means we can dash as a bonus action, or we can hide as a bonus action. To be honest, there's no real point in doing a disengage anymore. You might as well use your bonus action to hit with your offhand and then run away because of the mobile feat. At level 10, we take the Rogue to level 3. This gives us our next specialization, and of course we're taking the Assassin because we want the Assassin abilities here. So, if we were to attack outside of combat, when combat begins, we immediately get our action and our bonus action back, which is so useful. We get Ambush, so any successful attack against a surprised creature is a critical hit. And we have the Initiative, so we have advantage on attack rolls against anyone that hasn't taken a turn yet. We're taking the Rogue to level 4. This gives us another new feat, and for this I would boost the air size now, so dump your dexterity up to 18. And then for your final level, I would go Fighter, take the specialization in Battle Master, and then you can pick your maneuvers. Now, I really like things such as the disarming attack. So you can spend a spirited dice and force a target to drop their weapons. Very good. I really like the pushing attack, so you can push them 4.5 meters away. And I really like the trip attack, where you can make a large or smaller character just fall to the ground. Now, there are so many ways you can do that build. You could get your 5 levels in Fighter to get the extra attack, and then just take Fighter all the way to level 3 to get the Battle Master. Or you can do what we did, where you take the 2 to get the Action Surge, and then go Rogue. Or you could do all your Fighter levels, all your Ranger levels, and then all your Rogue levels to get the Sneak Attack and the SI, and then do your Fighter levels. It really depends on what you'd rather have. If you'd rather have Action Surge early, Battle Master earlier, your Sneak Attack earlier, the choice is yours. I would personally stick with Gloom Stalker first though, because this is a Gloom Stalker build. Now, let's go over some items. I really like the setup I have on my Assassin Ranger. In my main playthrough, my tab was a Assassin Gloom Stalker, and I think the weapons he has is really beneficial to this build as well. So let's go over them. We have the Divination Cloak. So when you poison a foe, you can heal yourself for 1d4 hit points, and this is great because if you covered your arrows or your swords in toxins and poisons, you just heal up every time you hit an enemy. Evasive Shoes, so this gives you a +1 to acrobatics and a +1 to your armor class. And considering we have such a high dex, including armor, this will boost your AC up. Now I personally like the Breastplate +2, gives you 1 less piercing damage, and it will give you a +1 to your dexterity saving throws and checks. But there are other items you can use, such as the Exotic Materials one, where you get to add your whole dexterity modifier to them. Go and check these out. You can literally wear any medium armor for this build to work. I just personally like the simplicity of the Breastplate +2. The Stalker Gloves. So, you get a +1 bonus to your initiative, which is why if you look at our initiative, it's currently sitting at +9. So whenever we roll, we get +9 to it. We also have a +9 to our attack bonus, which is really good. And our offhand, we get a +10. Crusher's Ring for the 3 movement speed. Now this might not sound too amazing based on other rings you can get, but I really like the ability to be able to just move around the battlefield. Couple this with Misty Step and stuff like this, and you really have a ranger that can run in, attack, run out, and hide and whatever, that sort of stuff. So yeah, back to gloves, your sneak attack does an additional 1 to 4 force damage, so our sneak attack is just buffed as well, and sneak attack is really, really easy to trigger. You just need to attack someone that's next to an ally, that's it, that's the easiest way to hit your sneak attack. It's one of the best things in 5e, and it's one of the most simple things to achieve. Now for a bow, I really like the Dark Fire short bow. This grants you resistance to fire and cold. Couple that with our Wasteland Wanderer for poison, and we have resistance to all 3 of them, which is just amazing. We also have Haste, and I think Haste is phenomenal. Cast an action, and you basically get 2 actions per turn. Such a good spell. For your melee weapons, I really enjoy the Ambusher. This is a sentinel weapon, so you get +1 to our initiative and advantage on perception ability checks. But when in combat, we deal 1 to 6 necrotic damage to targets that haven't taken a turn yet. So if you couple things with things like Dread Ambusher, the first round of combat, as well as our insane initiative, this can really be a big damage dealer very, very early on. And the Sword of Life Stealing. So on a critical hit, the target takes an extra 10 necrotic damage. So we've got that necrotic damage sort of synergy between our weapons. And it'll give you 10 temporary hit points. Now this won't hit like... Our crit chance is as good as any other. It still needs a natural 20. But it will not only buff you, it will do an insane amount of damage. 10 extra base damage is so good. So those are my choices for weapons. Let's go find some combat and we'll go test this out. Okay, so here we go. So I want to show you off the ambusher initiative thing, where we basically get a full round of combat, even though we will hit an enemy outside of it. So let's say you're preparing for a battle and you know you have to take on someone, and you just want to get an extra attack in. We can do this. There you go. And you'll see we are back here and we have our full range of turns thanks to our assassin abilities. So we are going to start this off with just a very simple thing. Now, we have advantage because all of these enemies have not taken a turn this round, which means advantage equals sneak attack. So, unfortunately did sneak attack when we hit them to begin with because they weren't expecting it, which is okay. It still means we can come back in here. And just like that. And as you see, we hit a critical hit with the offhand, and we just instantly got 10 temporary hit points, which now means we're sitting at 118 hit points. And we still have a full round of turns, as well as our Dread Ambusher. So let's turn our Dread Ambusher on, and let's target the gentleman down here. 20 damage we did there. And as I said before, if we were to come in here with our attack, we did 13 damage, but because of our mobile ability, usually now if we were to run away, we'd take an opportunity attack. But we don't because of mobile. And again, come in here, we could hit this gentleman, and we can freely run away and no one can do anything about it. We can then action surge, and we now have another round of turns where we can just wail on the enemy. So, let's do it on this gentleman because he's next to us. There you go. One more attack. And there you go. We did 5 attacks that turn, and we worked out how well mobile is at being able to just get in the pocket, stab, and leave. Okay, so as stated before, we have things such as Misty Step. So we could Misty Step to a higher position, such as here. And now, if we were to use our arrows, we would have advantage and better chance at hitting. Now, as I stated before, with this, sneak attack works as long as a target is next to one of your allies. So, for example, we have sneak attack on the gentleman down there, but not on these ones. So really, sneak attack works on basically anyone that your frontline or tank is dealing with. So if we come down here, you see we did damage there, and we still have more turns here, which is really good because we still have things like this, our maneuvers, which we haven't shown off yet. These are from the Battle Master, and I can see we have 4. So let's just do a trip attack ranged, and we'll hit this one. Unfortunately, we missed with an 85% chance. That's just how it goes sometimes. Okay, so we're back in here. Now, to show how some of this gear works, let's just find a poison. So let's take a... There must be something we have here. There you go. We'll do this one. So now we've coated our weapon in a poison, and we still have the ability to hit some targets. So again, we'll do a pushing attack this time, see if it works. And they fell into the river, thanks to the pushing attack. Again, it's kind of like Thunderwave, so very, very helpful. But what this also means is we have so much movement, we could come up here, and we could try the same maneuver on this one. So let's say we come in here and we want to spend another superiority dice on a pushing attack. There you go, and now it's stricken with the Crawler Mucus. And that is our turn over. So we've really got the ability to not only can we deal huge damage with sneak attack, we also have the Battle Master abilities that allow us to do insane abilities like tripping the enemy or pushing them off of ledges, that sort of stuff. And the last thing to show off is Hunter's Mark. So if we were to do a Hunter's Mark, there we go, we now do extra damage per hit. So let's come in here. Or we could miss, that also works. There we go, 7 damage. Not very good, but we have got the Hunter's Mark on there. Alright, now once again, here we are. So let's come back in with a attack with our Hunter's Mark active. Again, another big miss, but we still have a battle point. So again, let's just try a pushing attack to see if we can push them off the ledge. Unfortunately, we couldn't, but we did do 17 damage from that. And of course, we could do our haste. So this is a concentration, so you can't have this and Hunter Smart going at the same time. But again, we can come in here. And we can do a bunch of attacks. Now in the next round, you'll see we have multiple actions we can do. As well as missing, or sorry, they're missing most of their attacks on us. So again, let's come in here. We might end up just killing him, to be honest. Yes, we didn't get to test that haste as much. But that is the premise of this build. Big DPS, lots of attacks, lots of abilities to be able to control the battlefield and control enemies. Whether it's to trip them, to push them, to make them drop their weapons. Overall, an insane Gloom Stalker build. One of my favourites. And honestly, I think Gloom Stalker is such a huge and powerful Ranger subclass, not only in D&D, but in BG3. And if you haven't tested it out, I would implore you to do so. Once again, if you have enjoyed, please drop the episode a like. It helps me amazingly. And let me know in the comments what you would change about the build, what you'd do differently, what items you would use. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. It helps me out tremendously. And hopefully, I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.